Life Audio.
Hey, welcome to our new God's Love for the Unlovable and Gospel Rant series and format. We're calling the series Vagabond Diaries. We want it to be informative, relevant, fun, life-changing, biblical, gospel-immersed, something that makes your day, changes how you see things, biblical passages, biblical principles, some concepts. Instead of dealing with the biblical topics, verse by verse, word by word, precept by precept, we're going to shift to telling stories. C.S. Lewis said if he had to do it all over again, he would write more children's stories. And by the way, he also said if your children's stories isn't liked by adults, it's not a good child's story. The idea is to make us think about these things differently, to get in, to explore. We're going to use satire, sarcasm, made-up characters, mockery. We'll use deep political insights when we need to get a point across. And it's a rant, so we're not worried about being that politically correct, sensitive, hopefully. Empathetic, yeah, because we're talking about God's love for the unlovable, the unloved, and the unlovely. We're just presenting it in a different light. Think of stories. Think of The Chosen. Think of C.S. Lewis and the Chronicles of Narnia. Think about the Lord of the Rings. We want you to redeem your time, the few minutes you have commuting to work, riding on the train, going to the airport, just chilling. And over, just a drip, 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 we're going to talk about God's love for the unlovable, the unlovely, and the unloved. If you think about that phrase, it's huge, and it unpacks. It just sprawls. And I think that's what we desperately want, even though part of us has been so deeply wounded by relationships and scared to death of it. But that's really what we want. It's the heart of the gospel. So, this came from my recent experience writing a young reader fiction fantasies, Kingdom Quest, which really were patterned after the Chronicles of Narnia. It's fantasy, it's got dragons, it's got gnomes, it's got pirates, it's got worlds and under attack, and just underneath it is the gospel. The whole sense of God's kingdom. It's supposed to be for readers 10 to 16, but you know what? It's for adults. That's the idea. Someone called it Chronicles of Narnia meet Princess Bride. I've already won an award for children's fantasy. So check it out. Get them for kids in your life or in your church, yeah? All right, so that's the goal. The Vagabond Diaries is going to tell the principle of God's love for the unlovable in a unique narrative form. And let me know what you think. Get the word out, pass it on, just see it to somebody, subscribe, do all that good stuff, because it really does help. All right? In today's Vagabond Diary, we're going to meet Jude, a young man who, he's just crazed by something his father has done and deeply, deeply, deeply offended. All right? Let's have some fun. Welcome to God's Love for the Unlovable and Gospel Rant. We're going to get right back to this week's Vagabond Diaries after this message from our sponsors. Don't go anywhere. Hey, welcome back. This is Jude. Order in the court, said the judge firmly. He didn't want the trial to get out of hand. Mr. Prosecutor, would you repeat the question? The defendant will answer. So, Mr. Jude, would you say that you hate your father and want to see him harmed? Said the prosecutor, pointing to the elderly man alone at the defendant table. What? No, what? Said the large man on the stand. He was impeccably dressed, sat straight, projecting a sense of trained gravitas, someone who was used to respect. No, of course not. What a silly thing to say. I love my old man. He's just acting like a fool. And yet you're here suing him. Well, no, it's not personal. It's financial. And you said in an earlier testimony, and I believe I'm quoting you, he showed me great disrespect. Well, yes, that's right. He did. I felt disrespected, and why shouldn't I? So help me and the court understand this. It's not personal, it's financial, and yet you said he showed you disrespect. One of those is incorrect, or at least not precise. Can you help us out? Object, barked the prosecuting attorney loudly. He was a thinner man. What little hair he had was rubbed down low on his head with some kind of aromatic product. He was wearing an old-fashioned herringbone suit, black white-top shoes. Your Honor, he's badgering the witness. Your Honor, I'm just trying to clarify why we are here. Is it personal or is it a financial transaction? I'll allow it. I'm not terribly sure myself. Just give a wide berth around personal invectives, counselor. The plaintiff will answer the question. Well, it's personal too, I suppose, but it's all about money and what I am owed. So not to badger, but help us out here. You are owed money, or are you also owed respect? Object! I'll allow it, said the judge quickly and confidently. Okay, sure, I'm owed both, big time. Look, I've put up with my father my whole life. He has always loved him. He pointed to the other younger man sitting behind the defendant. He would always punish me for things I did wrong, but he would regularly let Jude off the hook. Jude would steal things for him and for his drug habit, knickknacks, jewelry, tools, anything he could pawn, cash. Not my problem, I suppose, but he would get away with it time and time again. If I didn't make my bed at night, I was not allowed to be with my friends for a day or two or even 3. I was great at school. I was good in sports. I was quarterback of the state championship football team, but he pointed to the defendant, wasn't ever there. He couldn't just take a couple hours from the hospital to come and watch me. To be clear, he was at Jude's bedside after one of his overdoses. Yeah, that's right. And still, I stayed here to help him run the family business. I had offers to play football at a number of universities, Ivy League school, an SEC school, but someone needed to help the foolish old man. And who else would do it? Him? He pointed at his brother dismissively. He's not responsible. He's not trustworthy at all. He just continues to play on my old man's compassion and drain him and me of wealth and time. And so on January 8th of this year, your father came to your estate to invite you to come to a welcome home party for Jude, and you had him shamefully thrown off your porch. First, I didn't assault my father, but yes, I was angry, I admit it. Jude did it again, and this time he had my father drain his cash from the main checking account, making up some story about inheritance and legal absurdity. That's why I'm here. He gave Jude money that was legally mine without consulting me. So, are you aware the legal term is deed of gift? According to the law, the legislature, and approved by the Supreme Court, anyone, even a foolish father, can choose to bypass inheritance laws that specify that after he dies, the eldest son gets 2/3 of all of the estate, and choose to give a gift to anyone he wants to. It may not be smart or fair, it might be foolish, but it is legal. Well, I wasn't before, but now I am. It's just not right. He's giving my money to this ungrateful leech. And then he had the chutzpah to invite me to the party that my money is paying for. Hey, it may be legal, but it's still not right. It's not fair. He showered him with honor and love that was mine, and not me. I deserve my Abba's love. I've earned it. My brother doesn't deserve it. So let me see if I got this right. You see yourself as more worthy of your father's love, largely because you have not been him, he pointed to his brother in the courtroom. Your Abba should love you more because you earned it by being faithful, being a good and righteous son. Is that about right? Yes, of course. I suppose that's human nature, to love the lovable and conversely to despise the unlovable. And that is the core of your charge against your father. It seems it's not a legal one, but a moral one. You say you deserve your Abba's love, respect, devotion more than your brother, but he has unduly received love from your father in contradiction to the moral norm. Is that your testimony? Yes, not exactly how I would put it, but in essence, that's it. Well, how would you put it? What kind of fool would keep loving him? That brother of mine, and he pointed at his brother again, who was ashamedly looking down at the courtroom floor, unable to make eye contact, particularly after he abused that love over and over again. My father is a fool, and he has become a laughingstock in the community. He's the doddering old fool on the hill, and now it's hurting others. You mean you, don't you? Well, yes, me. Legally or not, it's not right. I want what I've earned, what I deserve. Let me come back to that, but first let me ask you, does your father love you? Well, yes, I suppose in his way, but you see, yes, but does he love you as much as he loves your brother? Well, I couldn't say. It doesn't look that way. You would have to ask him. Well, I will, but what do you think he would say? Well, he would say he loves me as much as he loves my brother. Point of fact, he came out to you personally, a long ways away, to invite you to a celebration party upon your brother's return, meaning he didn't just send out a messenger, he came personally. Now that might imply respect and honor and perhaps love. Yeah, but like I said, I deserve his love. And when you had him thrown off your porch, objection! Facts not in evidence, chirped the prosecutor. Sustained, said the judge. Let me rephrase. When you had your father escorted off your porch, did your father show any sign of anger towards you or hatred, or would you testify that he still loves you? Objection, said the prosecutor again. How would my client know the mind and heart of his father? Sustained, said the judge. Very well, let me rephrase again. Did your father do anything after that event that appeared retributive, like taking you out of the will or charging you with assault or disinviting you? No, he didn't. Why would he? I'm the victim here. I deserve his respect, honor, and love more than my ridiculously destructive and addicted, selfish brother. Yes, that is at the very heart of your defense. He paused. The defense would like to call Rabbi Joshua ben Joseph to the stand. Jesus rose from the back row where he sat with some of his disciples and took a seat in the witness box. Rabboni, you are here today as an expert witness for the defense. You are a recognized authority on love, are you not? I object, said the prosecutor. What makes this man some kind of expert on what love is or not? Overruled, the court accepts the rabbi's credentials. The prosecution may challenge the witness's authority on love upon rebuttal. Please continue. Rabboni, the prosecution's case is that this man, and he pointed to the defendant, acted foolishly and destructively towards the plaintiff, an act which lacked authentic love and charity. Rather, it was an act of destructive foolishness that cost the plaintiff. The plaintiff argues that his brother didn't deserve to be loved because he has over and over proven himself to be unlovable and so should be treated as such, namely disowned by his father. Jesus paused for a long while as if gathering his thoughts. He took a breath, looking toward the elder brother with such a look of compassion, and said, First, I would say that the older brother does reflect a common misunderstanding of the nature of love. I want to distinguish between two very different loves. The first one, let's call it human love post-fall. It is indeed true that our broken and twisted version of my Father in heaven's love is bent towards only loving the lovable, the lovely, and the loved, those who treat us with love. It's a response. This post-fall love tends to love only the worthy. It's subjective, but that's the case, as he testified. It's one of the core reasons I've come to challenge and to bring a different perspective on my Father's heavenly love. My heavenly Father's love is very different. My Father's love, meaning the love that is innate uniquely to him, not humanity, it's by its very nature an incongruous gift, meaning it is given without regard to the recipient's worth or worthiness. In our world, tragically, such a good gift is distributed only to fitting and worthy, lovable recipients, those who have earned it, or those who are lovable by some subjective measurement, who are attractive to me, who treat me well. And this is the only love that the older brother is aware of at the moment. He's not alone. But my Father's love is given without regard to worth. And in fact, it flows best into the absence of worth and worthiness. And here's the thing about my Father's love. It's not handed out to match the recipient's worth or subjective value or lovability. It creates it. This Father's love that I'm hearing of is one of the best examples of my Father's love that I've seen as I've walked this dark place. It seems he loved his unlovable, unworthy son with all the love of his heart. Well done, good and faithful servant. He would throw 1,000 parties if need be, it seems, and that is what true love does, not because the recipient is worthy, deserves it, or is somehow intrinsically lovable. Rather, because the recipient is not. His love creates worth and a sense of worthiness. Perhaps not all at once, but over a time, this young man will begin to feel worthy, a little or a lot. Such love is very powerful. The same is true for the plaintiff. If I may say so, he is not as worthy and lovable as he would like to believe or to present himself. And so the way he treated his father is an example of that. The love of his father will no doubt keep rushing on him as well, pursuing him like the waves of the sea over and over again until he too will begin to feel his father's love, not because he's earned it, but because he finally realizes that he doesn't. I suspect that his younger brother will truly get that love quicker than him. But do not doubt the transforming power of such love. The elder brother, in time, will know it as well. And then, oh yes, there will be such a party in the land, a party that may never stop. I heard the plaintiff say that he feels his father showed him disrespect. I believe he said great disrespect. And that's all he can see now. His brain is wired that way. But in fact, it seems his father has always shown him great respect. He just couldn't receive it. There will come a time when he will see, such is the power of that love. Defense rests, Your Honor. The end. Well, let's talk about this after a few words from our sponsors. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. So here's some dialogue starters that I thought about. The elder brother had some legit concerns, right? I mean, we almost kind of go, well, yeah, it makes sense. What do you think? Next. So there was a loophole in the law, but was the father's love fair and equitably distributed? Right? Is it supposed to be fair? Well, what about justice? You know, the crimes against the father, the crimes against the elder brother. How about this? If you were the elder brother, how would you have felt if invited to the party that you indirectly paid for, that got paid out of your inheritance? And tell me about the Father's love in your own words. It is both wonderful and troubling, terrible, isn't it? What do you think? Look, love to get feedback. Bill at gospel-app.com. If this makes sense to you, if you like this Vagabond Diary, like, subscribe, forward a link to a friend, give us feedback. And in the meantime, check out the fantasy books. All of this good stuff about the Father's love for the unlovable man is just immersed in all of these. The second one just came out, The Storyteller's Tale. Enjoy. Get it for the kids in your life, the teens in your life, the children's programs at your church. The Kingdom Quest Trilogy. It's available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble. If you want more information, check out the author page, drbillsinyard.com. I've also published, you've probably been hearing about it, a study for women, spiritual formation for women in particular, called Dance Daughters of the Most High. I'm hopefully giving voice to 7 underappreciated, misunderstood, and overlooked women. That will also be a trilogy. The other 2 are being written right now. They're fascinating. Their stories are amazing. These are mothers of our faith, and I'm just giving them honor. Check it out, Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and drbillsinyard.com. All right? Check it out. We'll see you next time. Take heart, child of God.